Hello, welcome to West Country Wanderings. Today you meet me at Pennant's Consols tin mine just outside Redruth. Redruth is in West Cornwall, and today we're going to walk up the hill called Carn Marth, which lies just to the south of the town and affords excellent views in both directions, well 360 degrees directions. However, today it is a bit cloudy, so maybe a little bit limited, but we'll see what we get. There's some interesting things on the way up there and when we reach the summit, so why not come and join me? Now going to explore an ancient well which has special properties, so let's go and have a look. Yes, this is on the side of Carn Marth Hill and it's called Figgy Dowdy's Well. It's also known by the name of Marjorie Daw, as in Seesaw Marjorie Daw, the nursery rhyme. The connections to that nursery rhyme are a bit lost in time, so we don't really know if it has any direct connections to the child's nursery rhyme. However, on special days of significance in Cornwall, like St Piran's Day, the tradition was that children would place dolls inside the well to bless their toys. This is one of the quarries on Carn Marth. This is actually a granite quarry. It opened in the late 1880s and closed in 100 years later in the late 1980s. I can actually remember when this quarry was in use. However, interestingly, it now has another purpose, which we're going to have a look. The granite that was mined at this quarry was used in a lot of the public buildings, to build the public buildings in Redruth, including the Passmore Edwards Public Library, and also part of the town clock. So yes, this is now a natural amphitheatre. It was constructed out of the granite left lying around from when the quarry closed. I believe it opened in the early 1990s. And there is a travelling theatre group called Carn Cove that performs here, well, I say regularly, obviously not recently because of COVID, but hopefully they'll be putting on performances here again. The acoustics here lend itself to be a theatre. Clearly not as old as Perrin Round that we saw in the last video over at Rose near Perranporth, but it has a certain character to it. I have an interesting tale to tell you about the waters that are behind me. This is a flooded granite quarry. I believe it's older than the first one that we looked at near the start of the vlog. It's been flooded for quite some time. I don't recommend anybody swims in this one because there's all kinds of things that have been chucked in it over the years. Legend has it once a double-decker bus was driven up here and driven into the quarry. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but there have certainly been a couple of cars over the years. There is another story though, and that's to do with Harry Potter, so we'll come on a little bit further and I will tell you some more. So what is this Harry Potter connection that I speak of? Well, back shortly after the first Harry Potter book was launched, around about the same time, some film studios were set up with an EC grant near the village of St Agnes, just over on the Atlantic coast, only a few miles from here. The owner of these film studios obviously had big plans for it. He also had a private collection of cars that were used in various film and TV productions. One of these cars was the car that was used in the Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets film, with the one that flew over the Scottish viaduct with a steam train going underneath. Well, one day some students from the university, deciding to have a bit of a prank, decided to steal, or should I say joyride, this particular vehicle, and they drove it to the summit here at Carn Marth, and nobody saw them drive it. It was obviously in the early hours of the morning, and the car went missing, and 3 days later it magically appeared on the top of the hill here at Carn Marth. So yes, Carn Marth is 231 metres above sea level, which I think is around, is it 773 feet, something like that. It's not the highest one in this area. Sorry, my hat's on tight to stop it flying off down the hill. 231. It's not the highest. Carmenellis over in that direction is about another 20 metres higher than this one, and obviously you've got the 2 or 3 hills over at Bodmin Moor, which are again getting on for towards 1,000 feet, I believe, but it's still a substantial height to give some pretty good views in this particular part of West Cornwall. The wind turbines at Chai Bucca, which is the turn off on the A30 towards Truro, that bank of wind turbines is over there. United Downs recycling plant and the outskirts of the village of St Day is over there. That direction is the village of Ponsanooth, where lies Kennel Vale, which hopefully we'll explore some future vlog. Here is the reservoir at Stithians. Now you'll notice down on the quarry there, and I'll just zoom in a bit. Alongside the quarry face you'll see a number of holes, some smaller holes along the bottom and some larger holes along the top. Now I remember reading somewhere, I can't remember where, that those holes were created by the Camborne company, Maxair, who were manufacturers of mining equipment which got exported all over the world, and that is where one of the places they tested their equipment, to testing the drill bits and pneumatic pumps to drill through the rock. OSBM, so that's Ordnance Survey benchmark. That's the datum line here for bearing the height, and the map coordinates are S7938. The top bit would have been where the theodolite would have been screwed into. Obviously these are now completely redundant, and everything mapping being used through GPS, satellite and aerial photography. But once this is the ways that maps would have been created throughout the whole of the UK. We have yet another granite quarry down there. So a few more views coming into line now at this side of the hill. So that's back around towards Carmenellis, which has the microwave link tower on the top. I move around, there is another mast on this one, and this is the main mast here, which is known as the Four Lanes Transmitter. Interestingly, that hill doesn't have a name. It never has. It's on the top, it's above the village of Four Lanes, and everybody just knows it as Four Lanes. It's a television and radio transmitter, or transmitters should I say. Moving along, we then have the valley, which forms part of the trail which goes around the whole of the Campbell and Redruth area mining trail. And then next to the right of that is Carn Marth, with its Bassett Memorial on the top of it, and the castle like Folly, which is now a restaurant to the right of that, looking out. Now you would see to the right of that the Atlantic coast, but today I'm afraid is a bit too hazy to see the sea from where we are. We've now made our way down the lower slopes of Carn Marth, and we are heading for a historical site of great spiritual significance, particularly to Methodists. I'm sure most of you are probably already guessing where we're heading, but if you follow me you'll find out shortly where we are going. After visiting that location, we're going to make our way around the northern slopes of Carn Marth back to where we started our journey. Now, what I like about this location, apart from being quiet and peaceful, it's a world away from the tourist trail, is the ruggedness of it. We're very close to Cornwall's biggest urban area, that's the Campbell and Redruth urban area. We're only about a couple of miles from Redruth town centre here, if that. But the character of the terrain here, the landscape, the fields, the stones and the ruggedness of the rocks with the gorse and the heather gives it a flavour that we could be on Bodmin or indeed Dartmoor. We could be out in the absolute wilds, but nothing could be further from truth. We are very close to civilization or urban areas. I don't know if we do consider urban areas to be civilized. I must prefer this. I find this more civilized than built-up areas myself. But yeah, it's this rugged terrain of, say, the stones and the landscape. And the fact it is wild and quite barren, but as I say, very close to some quite the densest population in all of Cornwall. So here we are at Gwenup Pit, the home of Methodism. This is Busville Chapel, which was built in 1836 and remodelled with a new visitor centre in 1991. John Wesley was born in 1703 and he was a Church of England vicar, and his preaching style was at odds to the Church of England of its day. However, he found favour among the working classes, particularly the mining working classes, and he preached here at Gwenup Pit no less than 18 times. actually something astronomical-like about the pit here at Gwynap, and that's to do with the number of stages and the number of steps. If you have a look at the image, you'll see, if you include the very top rung and the very bottom rung, that there are 13 stages. Why 13 has a significance in to do with the Earth rotating around the Sun. Obviously we have 12, our time is divided up into 12 calendar months, but there is a 13th rotational aspect. And if you have a look at the number of steps in between, to the right of the image pointing to the 2 o'clock direction, you'll see that there's 24 steps, and of course there are 24 hours in a day. So you could see that this circular pit is an essence of life. We do not know if that is how John Wesley designed it, if that was intentional, or whether it was just a design to give good acoustics, but it is an interesting phenomenon to ponder. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tour around Carn Marth and Gwynap Pit today in this corner of West Cornwall, just outside the town of Redruth. Until next time, please consider a like, subscribe, a share or a comment, particularly if you visited this part of the world, or if you've got connections to the tin mining, or you have ancestors that worked in the tin mining industry in this particular area. I'd be very interested to hear from you. Until next time, take care of yourselves, look after, all the best, bye bye.